Hello again, another Model Railway news update, keeping you up to date on new stuff from some of the big model manufacturers. Before we get into the new models, there's a news update about Oxford Diecast. Now, a few people have already talked about this online, and that's really impressive they managed to get videos out so quickly. I think the cheeky engine was first, and that's really cool. So here's my take on it. We could have probably seen this one coming, but Oxford Diecast has become the first, let's say, casualty in Hornby's cost-cutting exercises. We've been hearing that Hornby have been having some financial challenges recently, and Oxford hasn't been much better, having reported in March this year that it made a £200,000 pre-tax loss. Ouch. And those losses seem to be increasing year on year. But it does still have value, with it reportedly having a net book value of almost £3 million. But it's just been sold. But to who? Well, it's our old friend Lyndon Davies, member of the board of Hornby, or at least he was, as in this deal he's going to step down from the board and focus on running Oxford Diecast. He's set up a new holding company called EKD, and, so the story goes, intends to continue to run Oxford Diecast, and so EKD bought the company off Hornby for a reported £1.38 million. And if my basic sums are correct, then this is definitely less than the £3 million book value that Oxford Diecast currently has. So a nice little deal there for Lyndon. But what does this mean for Oxford Diecast? Well, it could be that Lyndon does some sums and just sells off the company assets, pockets around about £1 million or so, and retires to the beach. Or it could be that he goes daft for diecast bin lorries and keeps it running. Well, only time will tell, and as it becomes more clear, I'll be sure to update you on this channel, so subscribe to keep informed. Anyway, that's it about Oxford Diecast. Let's get on at looking at some new models that have just been announced. I'll be covering a range of manufacturers in this video, and there's models across a number of different scales. As always, this is a totally unbiased news update. I don't have any affiliate links, and I'm not sponsored by any manufacturer or supplier to do this video. So remember to shop around for the best prices. Right, let's get into it and get you updated on the latest updates in the model railway world. Some news from Accurascale now in 00 scale, and it's this. Oh, come on, it's another Roco with a Welsh name. Everyone knows I just can't pronounce Welsh, and they've gone and done this model 37418 as a new Accurascale exclusives edition. Well, I'm not going to attempt the name, but you can see it's being done in this striking red and white lorem livery. The real one has certainly had a checkered life, and in this striking livery it certainly is a memorable locomotive. The model is part of a third run of Class 37s and joins the rest of the range in sharing the high specification and refined finish that we've come to expect now from Accurascale. It is an ambitious livery though, and one I think maybe in these livery sample photos isn't just quite right yet, but it certainly looks very good in this production photo which has been released recently. Obviously this means production is already underway, and if you fancy one of these, you can pre-order now from Accurascale's website. Price is set the same as the others in the third batch at an RRP of £189.95 for analog DC and £289.96 for DCC with sound. As always, these come with Accurascale's lifetime warranty, and delivery is set for Q4 2025, so a while to wait yet. Now, Roco have announced even more models. It was only the last update that I was talking about Roco and new models, and they have just given us some more as the Winter 2024 collection. It's just crazy how much is being announced by them at the moment. Anyway, let's get on with it. And we're starting off with this. It's a brand new freight train pack, and you get a Deutsche Bahn E69.
69, dudes!
Electric locomotive, and it's matched with 4 wagons here. Now, none of this is new stuff, it's just new liveries being put together in this pack, and it represents vehicles from Epoch 4. This is coming in around about 375 for the analog DC version. But you can also get this with DCC and sound fitted for around about 460. And like with many Roco items, you can also get an AC sound version, which is always priced at the same as the DCC version. Okay, locomotives now, and we have this one. It's the Deutsche Bahn BR89. This one number 7296. It's a great looking little tank engine from Epoch 3. In the past I have done a restoration job on one of these. It was actually a Fleischmann model, and I think it was a little bit out of scale. It was called Anna. You can check out that video on this channel soon. But this one from Roco is certainly a lot more refined with a huge amount more detail on it. It really does look very good, and I also think it's actually in proportion as well. For the analog DC version it's £260 or thereabouts, and you can get it with DCC and sound for $350, but no AC version on that one. Now this is a very sleek looking locomotive. What a fantastic colour scheme as well. This is a Deutsche Bahn BR10, this one number 001, and it hails from Epoch 3. The streamlining effect on this really looks incredible, and matched with this maroon colour really makes for a very impressive locomotive. This is one that's been released before in different liveries, but I would argue that this is probably the most eye-catching one. It is a bit pricey though. It comes in around about $470 for the analogue version, and it tips the scale at £600 for DCC with sound, and that's the same for the AC version as well. Compared to the sleek looks of the last locomotive, this one looks really quite boxy. It's the OBB RH77.14 steam locomotive from Epoch 3. You do get a driver in this one looking out from the cab there. I wonder whether he actually moves. I don't have a huge amount of spec on these locomotives just yet, but if I can find out, I'll let you know on an update in the future. This one comes in around about $360 for the analogue, and it's around $450 for the digital versions. Now I really like this locomotive. Hailing from Epoch 1, it's the KWSTE BR310.01. What a fantastic looking machine this is. It's got a huge amount of detail on it, and it's very characterful as well. The offset chimney looks really odd, but I really love this locomotive. It's definitely my favourite steam locomotive from this release from Roco, and it comes in around about £460 for the analogue DC version, and it rises to £560 for the digital sound versions. And that is a lot of money, but this does look like a really fantastic locomotive. Now we're moving on to diesel locomotives. This is an Epoch 4 RH2143, this one number 010-3, and of course it's Austrian in the OBB orange colour here. It's got some great interior details here. You've got a full cab modelled in there, as well as a clear view into the engine which has been modelled as well. There's lots to like on this model, and it's coming in around about $230 for analogue, and the digital versions are around £330. Now of course this locomotive isn't anything new. The BR108 has been released many times before in different variations. This one is in the Epoch 4 colour. It's 001-9 from the Deutsche Reichsbahn. So you've got it in the maroon with the cream stripe and the orange ends. Quite a solid locomotive. Everyone should really have one of these in one variation or another. This one could be yours for around £170 for analogue, or $260 for the digital ones which come with sound. Now this is absolutely one of my most favourite locomotives in the world. This one is in the CSD orange and yellow livery, which is really quite eye-catching. But what I really love about this is obviously the windows. It totally reminds me of Bender from Futurama. And this one from Epoch 4 could be yours for around £240 for the analogue, and around about $340 for the DCC with sound. There's no AC version being released at the moment on this, but I'm sure that will be coming soon. However, much as though I like this locomotive, this colour scheme isn't my most favourite one in this release, because this one is. It's the ZSSK RH750. This one is number 183-6. What a fantastic livery this is. I love the yellow, almost like an electric shock down the side of it, and the zebra stripes at the front. It really looks a fantastic model. This would definitely be on my Christmas wish list. And it's priced the same as the other one at $240 for analogue, or $340 for DCC with sound. Now we're moving to France. This is a BB Class 66 number 2405, and it's from Epoch 5. It almost looks like a Dutch locomotive with these colour schemes, but it is actually a French SNCF machine. The bogies do look a bit plain on this class of locomotive, but it's quite a solid looking thing, and it looks as though those little blue lights on the roof also illuminate. For analogue it's around about £220, and DCC with sound is around £320 as well. Now Roco's certainly churning out the versions of this Ludmilla locomotive. This one from Epoch 6 is in the SBW livery of green with a white stripe and the grey roof. It's still a V300, this time it's number 005. I'm wondering just how many liveries of this is going to be released. It's almost like the European version of the Class 47 that we get in every single livery possible. Anyway, this one here is priced around about £150 for the analogue DC version, which is a lot of locomotive for that price. This is quite a huge model. And for DCC with sound, it's around about £250. This one is available in AC sound. It's the same price as well. And this is another locomotive which has got loads of different liveries on it. We're now into electric locomotives. This one from the SBB, it's an RE420, and it's got this very eye-catching wraparound livery. It's not one of my most favourite ones, but it's certainly quite unusual, and this is a very good refined model. This one comes in quite steep at £340 for the analog DC version, and it's £440 for DCC with sound. And you get an AC sound version as well. Another very cool eye-catching livery. This one I think is actually quite classy. It's the SBB Cargo BR193. This one in the silver with the graphics. You see both sides of this, it's different on each side. It certainly looks really cool. It's definitely one of my favourites anyway. And it comes in around about £280 for the analog DC version. The DCC sound is £380 and the AC sound is the same price as well. Note on this model you actually get 4 pantographs on the roof and they all operate, which is prototypical of the real one, and it's modelled here as well. It's a great looking model, this one. Now there's another livery here on the Swiss SBB RE 4/4 Type 2. This model is getting churned out with all the different variations on it. It's a great model, but this isn't my most favourite livery on it. I prefer the more traditional green colour. But if this one appeals to you, then it's coming in around about £330 for analog and £430 for the 2 digital versions. Now it's the RC4 number 1305. This one from Epoch 6 in the green cargo livery is very bright colour, this one, but it is a rather dull looking locomotive, I think. And in this photo montage image it does look as though the pantographs are a little bit off, but I'm pretty sure on the real model it'll be fine. It would be a solid enough locomotive, this, and if it appeals to you it's priced at around about £280 for the analog or around £380 for the digital versions with sound. Now we don't have a model photograph of this one, but we do know that Roco are going to be producing the BB class SNCF locomotive. This one is number 2238 in the Wego bright purpley pink colour. It is a model they have done before, but they've got this model off to a T, and this livery seems quite simple, very bright, but not much to it really. Anyway, it's coming in around about £260 for analog, and it's another £100 for the sound versions in DCC or AC. Another model they're churning out loads of different livery options on. This is the Deutsche Bahn AG BR143. This one is number 130-3. It's a fairly basic maroon colour with a white stripe. A solid enough model, but it's not going to pull any heartstrings. It's pretty basic really. But it's coming in at around about £250 for the analog, and it's another £100 as normal for the digital ones which come with sound. Now we saw this model in the train pack at the start of the Roco models, and here it is again being offered on its own. It's the rack and pinion electric locomotive from the Sonnenblickbahn in this cream and dark red two-tone. Quite an attractive livery, and it's got the silver roof and a small pantograph on top which looks pretty cool. A lot of detail packed into a very small model here, but it doesn't come at a small price. It is actually £215 for the analog version, and incredibly you can get this digital with sound for £315. No AC version of this just yet. Another model that's been done to death, but this is a new version of it. It's the Deutsche Reichsbahn BR244. This one number 127-7 from Epoch 4. Classic green and red with a silver roof and red pantographs. A decent enough model, but you know, it's getting very common, this one. Lots of people have done it before, and I'm not sure how many new variations we need of it. But anyway, if this appeals to you, then it's coming in around about £270 for analog, and as usual it's another £100 for the 2 digital versions with sound. Again, it's a model that's been out before, but this is an incredible livery on this one. It's the Austrian RH1116. This one number 208-0 in the join livery, which is quite an incredible all-over wrap effect here. Very science fiction livery, this one. Very eye-catching. I really like it actually. And you'll notice on the roof it actually has 3 pantographs on this, just like the real one. And it's been faithfully modelled here. The pantographs actually look really good as well. This one is priced around £260 for analog, and as usual it's another £100 for the digital sound version. Now, I'm not quite sure what happened to the press release photos of this model. It looks a bit off, perhaps it hasn't been quite finished yet. But this is a BR151 owned by Locomotion, not to be confused by the Locomotion Museum here in the UK. This one is number 018-9 from Epoch 6. It's a very dramatic livery on this, and this model is very refined. It's got really cool windscreen wipers, and you can see into the engine bay with a model of the motor being shown through the windows there. This is coming in around about £260 for the analog version, and as usual another £100 for the digital sound versions. But of course that Era 6 model is actually based on this. It's the Deutsche Bahn BR151 in the green and black from Epoch 4. This one is number 051-0, so just another livery option really on this model, but it does show off the engine bay detail a lot better on this particular picture, and you can see some of those refinements like the extra handrails and buffer beam details. It's the same price as before, £260 for analog and another £100 for the digital with sound versions. Now we saw the WeGo purple version of the BB class electric locomotive earlier on. Here it is again in a different livery. This one is from Structon Rail and it's a pack that comes with the battery wagon. It seems as though an electric train needs a massive big battery on a wagon behind it. Quite an eye-catching and complicated livery. Something a bit different here. The twin pack comes in around about £350 for analog, and as usual it's £100 more for the digital versions. Now I really like this locomotive because there's a lot going on with the bogies, an interesting drive arrangement. This one is from Epoch 4, Austrian OBB RH 1099, and this one is number 001-8. You even get a driver figure in the cab in this one and a lot of little nice extra parts added on. It's a very cute little locomotive this, definitely very appealing, and coming in around about £200 for analog, and as usual £100 more for DCC with sound. No AC version of this just yet. Okay, that's it for Roco. What a massive amount of models, but no rolling stock. I'm sure that's going to be coming soon. We move on now to Fleischmann. This is all in N scale, and we start off with this Austrian OBB RH 638, and this one is number 1809, hailing from Epoch 3. This is just a photo montage picture. The number has been scored out, which gives an indication that this model has come out before and they're just renumbering it here. It's not one of my most favourite models in N-scale this. I think it's a bit basic. Some of the pipework on the boiler is a bit kind of moulded in, and it's a bit crude around the pony wheels at the front. So not Fleischmann's best effort this, I think, but it's priced around about £220 for analog, and you can get it with DCC for around £280. I think this is a much better livery of it. It's the SNCB Belgian version of the same steam locomotive. This is the Series 64, and again it's a photo montage, so it must have been out before with a different set of numbers on it. Some of the painting on this isn't great, but I do like this over the previous one. It's much more colourful, and it's priced, unsurprisingly, exactly the same. So next we have the Deutsche Bahn BR055. This is an 080 locomotive, this one numbered 635-7. Again, it's a photo montage. You can see that the number has been blurred out, so it's just a renumbering of a previous model. This is coming in around about £220 for analog, and it's £280 for DCC. The next model is the Deutsche Bahn BR01. Now this is a much better model. It's got some real nice refinements on it, great moulding as well, lots of extra parts on the side of the boiler. It's got the metal buffers and even lighting on it. It looks really cool and coming in at around £320 for analog. And you can also get this with DCC with sound for around £420. Now from that large locomotive down to this small tank engine, it's a Deutsche Bahn BR98.8 steam loco from Epoch 3, an 080 tank engine with a lot of character, but you can see the pickups on the wheels on this, and that's not great considering the amount of extra details and little bits and pieces that are on this model which make it really good. And there's a bit of a gap between the bunker and the chassis as well. So not the best rendition of this. It was certainly ambitious. It's got a lot of little extras, but you can see that again this is just a renumbering of a previous model, and they're asking £220 for that. I think they definitely need to have a look at the quality control before offering it at this kind of price point, and there's no digital version of this either. So we're on to diesels now, and it's a Deutsche Bahn BR211. This one is number 319-9, and it's hailing from Epoch 4 in the classic blue colour with the cream lines on it. This is quite a decent model, I think, and the presentation here is pretty good. It's been priced at £180 or thereabouts for the analog version, and it's another £100 for DCC with sound. A similar size of locomotive, this time it's from the Deutsche Reichsbahn. I think this is much more appealing. It's the BR106. This one is numbered 382-5 in this bright orange livery. It's got a great wheel arrangement here. I think that'll be quite cool to see that going round on the track. And it's got a lot of fine detail on it. It's a really cool looking model, I think, this one. And it's even cheaper than the previous one. This one is £160 or thereabouts for the analog DC version, and it's got DCC for £230, but no sound on this one. So this is a very ambitious logo on this. It's the Rail Experts 9902 electric locomotive with the Tommy and Tess graphics on it. Complicated cartoon graphics all around this locomotive. They pulled it off really well in N scale. Quite an incredible model this. It's different on both sides as you can see here, and it's priced at around about £260 for analog or another £100 for DCC with sound. Much more business-like livery on this Deutsche Bahn AG BR101. It's a classic crimson red with the dark grey, I actually really like this livery. It looks really classy, and this model has got a lot of nice details on it. It is one that's been out already, but the 101 is a very heavily used locomotive in Europe, and you can't go wrong with many of these on your layout. This one is numbered 003-2, and it's hailing from Epoch 5. It's priced around about £230 for analog, or it's £320 for DCC with sound. Now we do have some rolling stock from Fleischmann. Here we have the OBB compartment coach set. So you get 3 models here, 2 of the so-called PR11 third class coaches, one that's got a brakeman's cab on it, and you also get one DLH baggage car. These are all from Epoch 3 in dark green colour, and they look pretty cool, I think. This set is priced around about £130 for the 3. Another coach set, this time from Epoch 5, it's the Deutsche Bahn AG IR2471 Heidelberg to Constance coach set. So with this you get 3 coaches. The first one is a first class AIMZ. You also get the first class with a Bistro Cafe, which is an ARKIMBZ. You certainly get a lot of letters with these coaches. The next one is a BIMZ 264.6, which is a second class coach. Nice smart looking livery on these, and it's priced around about £130 as well for the pack. And there's a supplementary 2-car pack that you can add on to the previous set, and you can have a 5-coach train of all different coaches. This time you get another BIMZ, but it's just got different numbers on it. And it's matched with another second class with a cycle section, so that's a BIMDZ. And this 2-coach pack costs around about £85. So we've got a raft of these Deutsche Bahn AG IC/EC coaches in this white livery with the red stripe. There's quite a few different variations. This one is the BP MMZ version, which is a second class open coach from Epoch 6, and it's priced around about £45, which is actually the price of all the following coaches. So also in this series you get the AP MMZ, which is a first class open coach at again £45. You also get the BVMMSZ, which is a second class compartment coach, which is the same price again. And you also get the second class as an open coach, which is the BPMMZ version, which is also priced the same. And you get this one, the Bistro coach, but it's called Board Bistro, which is quite cool. This variation is the ARKLMMBZ. How many more letters can you get in the specification? Anyway, this one here is also priced around £45. And finally you get the driving car as well. This looks really cool. It's a BPMMBDZF second class control coach. This one is actually priced around about £90 because it does have a decoder fitted into it. So I guess under digital control you get some lighting. I'm not sure if you'll get lighting if you're running analog. I would presume yes, but you'll need to check up on that if you fancy this control coach. And we're also being offered some wagons as well. So this is a Belgium SNCB type PWGS baggage wagon in the green colour, quite a plain livery. It hails from Epoch 3 and is priced around £38. We also have this state wagon. It's a type KBS and it's here in DSB livery from Epoch 3. This is priced around about £34. So we're also being offered this twin pack of gondola wagons. These are type EANOS, and in this livery it's from the Dutch NS Railways in the Kronifer logo, which is a scrap metal merchant. So lots of opportunity to add scrap into these wagons if you wanted. This double pack is priced around £65. I really like this wagon. It's the type TADGS bogie swing roof hopper wagon with the Grawaco livery on it. It's very eye-catching and it looks really space age, this hopper wagon. It's priced around about £35. Now we've got a couple of variations of this wagon coming up. It's a type RES low-sided bogie stake wagon. This one is in the Spanish Renfe livery with some wire reel loads there. It looks pretty neat, this, I think, and is priced around about £50. But you can also get it in a much duller Czech Republic CD livery for also around about £50. And my favourite version is this, and it's in the Swiss SBB livery with 2 containers on it in the green, and it's also priced around about £50. So these Type T3000E double pocket wagons are getting a good run with different variations and livery options from Fleischmann. This time it has TWS tank container loads on it. Obviously this comes as a twin pack because it shares a central bogie. It's priced around about £90. And you can also get it with this other livery on the tanks for the same price. Alternatively, you can get a Deutsche Bahn AG version of this with the LKW Volter trailer load on it, and it's also priced around about £90. I feel as though you get more with this model because of the trailers, but you can also get it with DHL swap bodies on it for the same price. And that's the last new model in this release. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. It's been quite a massive amount of models already, and I'm sure we're going to get more very soon. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep yourself up to date with new model announcements and model railway news. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See ya.